yet. Pulling it up, it's some of these books are just painful online. And we said we're on 2.5, so we're going to go to 2. This is the painful book. And well, the thing is going slow, and but it's finally appears to be working. All right, we're going to go to 108. We can get there, and then I'll see if you guys can see it. If that's the case, we'll be in business, hopefully. All right. I spent a ton of money today. I mean, not a ton, but I spent money. I have a favorite shirt. I don't know if you guys ever get favorite shirts. And I didn't look at it real closely, but it's it's in pretty good shape. I kind of like it, and it was missing a button. So heck, I decided, well, I'm gonna splurge. I'm gonna go to seamstress, ask her if she's got any buttons, and have her put a button on. So sure enough, she did. She had the button, and she fixed it. And then I get home and I find out that I'm missing 3 other buttons. I mean, I felt like, because you pay for them to sew 1 button on just about the same much as you would 3. So I got to go back. All right, can you guys see the book?
Yes. Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. I want to show you this using your calculator. This is the kind of problem you pay for your calculator. I mean, whenever a problem is in the form of y equals, your calculator can easily graph it. So I'm going to stop this. I'm going to go to your calculator. Probably you all know how to do this anyway, but just in case, I think I got the calculator open. I think I do. There it is. I'm going to clear it. Now, to go to your graphing part, up in the left-hand corner, it says y equals. But before we do that, let's click on our windows again. That's the second button on the right, gray button at the top. This tells you what all your settings are in your calculator. If your settings do not match my settings, then you're not going to get the same picture. I had a student that came up to me after class and said, Dr. Wickman, I put in the graph and it gave me a different one. It doesn't work. She says, I'm throwing this thing away. And she had a beautiful calculator. I said, all right, here's the trash, throw it in here. And she walked away, and I just set the settings, and I sold the next. No, I didn't do it. I said, let me look at your calculator. And we matched the settings, and it worked. And so I just wanted to show you that causes something problems. Okay, here's y equals. So the first graph in this particular problem is y equals 2x. I'm going to erase this one. Notice that we have different colors for these graphs. So we can actually put different graphs in there and see them. So I'm going to go back up, arrow up to that graph, push it out, and hit graph. Do not hit enter, you hit graph. And here's your graph. Now I want to compare it to the next one. It's the same thing, but let's look at it. It's the same graph. Y equals 2x, you put in 2, then the x. But I think this is plus 3. Now notice the exact same thing, except for it has a plus 3. And what that means is the graph is just higher up. We'll graph it. You'll see them both. Remember the blue one we did first, and the red one is plus 3 should be higher. So we'll graph it and we'll see. And there it is. Now one other thing. The t-chart. Again, the t-chart. Let's go to 1 equals. Let's erase the second one again. Here. And let's do the t-chart. So we're going to go to second and then table. That gives you the blue thing of it. And we get the t-chart for that whole graph. On the test, if you have to show, you just plug it in and you just write down a couple of these. I think you're a genius. All right, I spent a lot of time on it. Just wanted you guys to see it. Uh-oh. I think I messed up there. Wait a second. Wait a second. We're getting back. All right, to the book. Now they're going to do the same thing I just showed you. Is it not clear?
It's clear.
Turn it, yeah.
Can't see it yet.
Sure, it's going slow to the next page.
It's clear.
I'm just showing you the same thing. Here's the t-chart. And it's going to give you another one. Now, what does f of x stand for? Anybody?
The function?
Why?
It's a function and y. You both are right, precisely. F of x is a function. And they call it a function by simply saying it's f of x. But f of x really means y. You can graph them manually by just putting in a point. Always put it 0 in for x. Then y becomes 0, so they get 0, 0. But let's put 3 in for x, and you get 3 and a 1. I mean, it's easy. You just put in numbers for x, and you get the y. Or you put it in your calculator. Hit y equals, and get the t-chart. It's this fast and this simple. 1/3 x. Boom. Stop this. Go to this. Go to our calculator. We'll go to y equals, and we're going to put in 1/3 x, so we'll clear this. 1 divided by 3 x, and graph. So graph, coming in right there, blue. I want the t-chart, so I'm going to do second table. It's right below, above graph. And there's your t-chart. There was the 0, 0. There's your 3, 1. There's your -3, -1. I mean, you can pick any number out you want, but those are the -6, -2. Probably there'll be a 6 and a 2. Let's see if that's like that. Down here further. There it is. All right. Number 3. Let me get there, I think. Y-intercepts or x-intercepts. Let's look at these. The intercept is where it touches or goes through either the x or the y. So the first one above you, which is above 4, is the y-intercept. And the y-intercept, notice there's a number where the y is, but a 0 where the x is. That makes sense, because if it's a y-intercept, you're going to have a number in the y. On the x-intercept, you're going to have a number where the x is, but a 0 for the y. Now this is the opposite. This is still a y-intercept. Let's go to the next one. And that amplifies the y-intercept. Let's see if we can show the next one. So we know x is going to have a number, y is going to be 0. Because that's why they call it an x-intercept. I haven't shown anything so far. They're talking about slope. The slope of a line. Let's just look at this chart for a second. These charts. If the line's going downhill, the slope is negative, and they show a negative x right there. The second one, the slope again is negative. It's going down here. It's -5. Third one's negative, -1/2. If there's no slope, it's 0. That's the middle lines. If the slope is positive, it's the bottom 3, and they're going up. Change in slope, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1 is the slope. That's how you calculate it using 2 points. Change in y over the change in x. We'll get back to the intercept for x going in. So look. Looking at this line to the right, without any math at all, you say it's going uphill, it's positive slope. So they pick 2 points, 7, 3. They go 3 minus 1, which is 2. 7 minus 2 is 5, so the slope is 2/5. And it's positive. Go to the next one. I simply did the one above it. I'll try to stay on target with the examples so I don't confuse you a little bit. Let's see what the next one says. Most people do not have too much trouble with slope. 2-order pairs, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 or x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Oh, slide down. This is called, this box here is the slope-intercept form of the line. What that means is the m is your slope and the b is the y-intercept. All right, so let's look at an example. So look, example 6. Y equals 5x minus 4. The 5 in front of the x is the slope. The -4 is the y-intercept, so the answer for the y-intercept is 0, -4. On the test, you'll be given something like this. You should be able to easily put that together. 7. Find the slope and y-intercept of 2x plus 3y equals 8. Well, you got to get y by itself. So I'm going to show you this one myself. I'll do it just like the book. Because the book does do this correctly. So we have the problem 2x plus 3y equals 8. We want to get y by itself, so we're going to now subtract 2x on both sides. We're going to get 3y equals -2x plus 8. Why? Because we subtracted 2x from this side, goes away. We have to subtract it from the other side, and it looks like this. Now we've got to divide everything by 3 to get y by itself, so that y equals -2/3 y plus 8/3. The slope is the this is x on this side. Let me do this over. I'm sorry, it's not quite right. Start over. 2x plus 3y equals 8. I want to get the y by itself, so I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. That's going to give me 3y equals a -2x plus 8. I just want to make it neater because the other side was right. Now I'm going to divide everything by 3. 3, 3, and 3. That means you're going to get y equals -2/3 x plus 8/3. So the slope is this. So m equals -2/3. And what does the y-intercept equal? Anybody?
8/3.
So how would we write that in ordered pair?
0 or 8/3.
Perfect. That's it. So that was number 7. Well, we're waiting for this thing. There it is. It says here they want us to calculate the average educational debt per college student has steadily increased since 1993. So the slope is going up, as you can see by the blue line. In 1993, the amount of debt was $14.5. In 2011, average debt is $26.6. So we want to know what the slope will be, and we know it's got to be a positive number. We take y sub 2, let me quickly show you both here. It's red. 26,600 minus 14.5 over the year. So you get 12,100 divided by 18. Is that it's gone up an average of $672 per year, and we probably know it's gone over that more than that because you got it off. That's just tuition, doesn't include books, cap and gown, and all the other stuff. Calculator requirement now. They didn't have calculators then, they had slide rulers. Yeah, who knows? Let's go to the next chapter, I think. on page 116. This is another slope, and we can pass on that. It's the same sort of problem. Y sub 2 minus Y sub 1. Let's the next chapter. Does anybody know what page that is?
Yes,
Which would be-
it's 2.6, 119.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lizette?
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
All right, it's supposed to show us this. All right, more on graphing linear equations. Number 1, find the intercepts. Now, is it clear?
It's clear now.
Okay, so to make one of the other zeros, all you got to do. So in example 1, if you make your x 0, then y must equal 6. That gives you the y-intercept. To find the x-intercept, you make your x 0, so x is 0. Excuse me, the y is 0 rather. And that means 3 times something has to equal 12, so that's 4. It gives you 4 0. Again, your intercept is defined by where the number is. The ordered pairs are always our x, y. If you make the x 0, you get the y-intercept. If you make the y 0, you get the x-intercept. Let's take a look here. Next page. Oh, by the way, sometimes 0, 0, that's the origin, is both the y and x intercept. That's what that was showing you. And that means it just goes to the center of the graph. We see that a lot of times. Number 2, graph using the slope and the y-intercept form the line. We know the slope is negative 2/3. You know the y-intercept is 0, 1. And you can put this in your calculator and get it. And you can just...
It's not clear, Professor.
Okay. Anyway, you can put points in there if you want to for your graph. 0, 1, negative 6, 5, and once you get them, you can graph it. The idea in a problem like this one is you just plug in a number. If you plug in 0 for x to graph this, y is going to be 1. You got 0, 1. You could put 3 in for this. If you put 3 in for x, y will be 0 because, or excuse me, let me say 3. How would I? If you put 3 in for x, that's going to give you a negative 2. And a negative 2 and a 1 is going to give you a negative 1. So the ordered pair would be 3, negative 1. So let's see if we can find that on here. 1, 2, 3, negative 1. There is 3, negative 1. You just plug in a number and calculate it. The same thing for this one, graphing it. I always use 0 for x, so y is 4. So 0, 4 is going to be one of them. We know it's 2/5 is positive, so slope is going to go this direction. If I put in 5 here, that's going to give me 2 plus 4 is 6. And what's the other way we could do this? 2/5 x plus 4? Let's just do that one. just go to the calculator. Y equals, clear this, 2/5, 2 divided by 5, x plus 4. And hit graph. There it is. And oh, look at here's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the intercept for that. Let's also see once what the t-chart looks like. We go second table. There it is. There's your 0, 4. Here's your 5, 6 we just talked about. You could get all kinds of numbers in here. Oh. I hope showing you the calculator every now and then is helpful.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
All right. Alrighty, we got something here. Vertical and horizontal lines. Now, if you have just y equals 3, a lot of people say, well, I need 2 points. What is the x? The answer is x is anything. Notice here's a horizontal graph. 0, 3, 2, 3. The idea for this graph when you have y equals 3 is no matter what, the y is 3. But the x is anything you want it to be. Here's -5, 3 over here on the left. The t-chart shows you 3s are always in the y's. You can put any number 1 in for the x. As long as it goes to 3 on the y, you're good. Horizontal one now, a little bit different. It'll be x equals, if they show that one. Maybe they'll just assume since you have the y, you can figure out the x. So if they give you the number for the x, then the y is anything. It's just the opposite. Here it is, x equals -2. Well, where's -2? It's down here to the left. Now, if x is -2 all the time, it must be a vertical line. Because what's this point up here? This is, again, -2 and up 3. This is -2 down -4. So just remember how to graph these. Now, what is the slope of a vertical line? Anybody? Can't hear. Anybody? What's the slope of a vertical line? Nobody knows? Is it
-2.
Huh?
-2.
No.
It's not that long.
Is it unbelievable? What is the slope of a vertical line?
0?
Nope. Close. It's undefined.
Undefined, yeah.
A horizontal line is 0. Horizontal line, slope 0. Vertical line, the slope is not defined. There it is in your little box. It's just like you put a level on a piece of wood to see if it's level. If it hits the 0, that's what it is. perpendicular and parallel lines. Let me just teach this. So a parallel line, let's say we have y equals 4x plus 3. A parallel line will have the exact same slope. So that would be like y equals 4x plus 7. This part changes. Anytime you see this part being the same, that's a slope, they're parallel. Now, perpendicular line, y equals 4x plus 2. A line perpendicular to this means that you have to change the slope, whatever it is here, to the opposite sign, so it would be negative, and it would be the reciprocal. Now, you just saw what I wrote here. Y equals 4x plus 2. I said a perpendicular would be y equals a negative 4x plus 2. Let's just graph it, see if that's right. I mean, let's just see. Okay, let's go to y equals. Let's do our new graph. Clear that. We said 4x plus 2. 4 x plus 2. Let's graph it, just see what that looks like first. Boom. There it is. Now perpendicular is going to go the other way. So let's go back to our y equals. We're going to put a negative. Now negative is not minus. It's down here. It's in parentheses. Negative 1 divided by 4 because it's reciprocal. Oh, heck. I didn't mean to erase that. Let me put that back in there. We'll leave that in the 4 plus 2. And we know what that looks like. It'll graph them both at the same time. So we're going to put in here a negative 1 divided by 4 x. Put plus 2 again. And we'll see. Everything is the same except for the slope. And let's take a look. Graph. Here comes one line. Boom. The other one. There it is. Perpendicular. It's supposed to be 90 degrees. It's a little bit off, but it's supposed to be. Here it is. Alrighty. Let's go to so we covered the parallel and perpendicular lines. We're going to get there, I think, someday here. The perpendicular, again, they're showing you this is the math behind it. The slope is the negative b over a, then the reciprocal is a over b and change the sign, and it's perpendicular. It's 90 degrees. And that's what they're showing you here. So just to give you confidence of what I just showed you, they take the equation 5y equals 4x plus 10, they get y by itself. And they get the slope 4/5. They want to know if this line is perpendicular. They do the same thing. And notice they get a negative 5/4. They show it. It's a right angle. Boom. Now, they do the math behind it, but your calculator can do that as well. The thing I want you to note is the red here, which is 4/5 x slope. Negative 5/4 x must be perpendicular because they are opposite or flipped and negative. That's the point. Next chapter. Liz, do you know what page?
Yes, it's 2.7 is 129.
Okay. Working it. Trying to get there. All right, we're getting there. Can you all still see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this says here, example 1, a line is a slope negative 0.07. So you put in 0.07, just like it shows, negative. It says the y-intercept is 13. You put 13. So if you're given this information in line 1 on the test, you should be able to come up with this. Now, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 is slope. If we have a 0, 0, it's a, I don't know what they mean by it's false equation. It's the same thing, but here it is. The slope equation of a line, y minus y1 equals m minus x times x, excuse me, m times x minus x1. What this means is this. They want you to do a calculation. You have the slope when you have 1 point, but they want the equation of the line. They only give you 2 pieces of information. Well, here's the 2 pieces. Slope is 5 and 1 point. So take y minus y1. So y minus y1 would be y plus 1, because this is negative 1 is your y. Equals the slope, that's 5 times x minus x1, which is 1/2. Now notice y minus 1 gives you y plus 1. You factor out the other side, you get 5x minus 5/2. To get y by itself, you've got to subtract 1 from both sides. That gives you y on the left, but if you subtract 1 on the other side, 1 with the common denominator 2 is really 2 over 2. Anything over itself is 1. That's how you get 7 over 2. Example 2 is a critical one for you to know. This is one your brain has to study. Again, they just substituted using this formula. This is called the slope-intercept equation for a line. There'll be 2 others. I guess you all heard about the Oxford COVID-19 vaccine. Anybody hear about that?
Heard a little bit about.
Yeah, they were, but
We canceled it,
But-
didn't they?
they have a problem today. A couple people got sick. Pretty sick. They didn't die, but they grew 2 noses. No, they got real sick then. And so they're going to put the test on a little bit more magnifying glass to see what's wrong. Okay, now let's go to example 3. Find an equation of line that contains 2 points. I'm going to do this one manually for you. 2/3 is 1 point, and -6, 1 is another point. So here we go. We need a couple pieces of information. We have 2 points, a 2 and a 3, and a -6 and a 1. So we got to calculate the slope first. Once we get the slope, we can use the other formula. So we're going to take y sub 2, 1 minus 3. We'll call this x1, y1, x2, y2. So 1 minus 3 over a -6 minus 2, which gives you a -2 over a -8, which gives you a slope of 1/4. There's a negative or negative is a positive. So now we have the equation y minus y, y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. So we can plug it in. Let's pick the smallest one. Let's use this number. We're going to use our x1, y1. So we have y minus 3 equals 1/4 our slope times x minus 2. This is going to give us y minus 3 equals 1/4 x minus 1/2. Because 2/4 is 1/2. I add 3 to this side, I add 3 to the other side. That gives me y equals 1/4 x. If I have 3 and I take a half away from it, it's going to give me a positive 2.5. Or that would be 5/2. So let's see if we're right. And there it is, 1/4 x plus 5/2. Now find the equation of the line containing the point -1, 3 and parallel to this one. Let's take a look at this. So we get y by itself. Y equals a -2x plus 10. So we see that the slope is a -2x, or -2. So if we have the slope, we can use the other formula that we had, y minus y1, because here's our point. So we're going to use the same thing, but we just have to use slope and the point -1, 3. So it's going to be y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. And I'll show you that here. It's the same formula we've just been using. Here it is, y minus 3 equals the slope. Remember, we got that times x minus x1, which means plus 1. Then they take the 2 and multiply it out, you get -2x minus 2. Add 3 to both sides. There you go, boom, that's your formula. It's pretty simple. Again, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Plug it in. Find the equation of the line containing this point. Again, you got to find the slope of the first one. You set y equals by itself. You see they did that. They have 4y minus x equals 20. So they put the x on the other side, divide everything by 4 to get y equals 1/4 x plus 5. Now you got the slope as 1/4. Then you use the same formula, plug it in, except for they want it what? Perpendicular. So if it's perpendicular, you got to flip and change the sign. So it becomes 4 and then -4, and then use the same point. And here, you know it's perpendicular because why? The slope of this one was 1/4. Perpendicular is -1/4, or -4, excuse me. The 5, this number here doesn't always have to be the same, but in this case it was. The cost of a necklace. Mia Beads offers a class in designing necklaces. For a necklace made of 6mm beads, 4.23 beads per inch are needed. The cost of the Nexus of 6mm gemstone beads is $7 for the class, and the Crimson approximately $1.70 per inch. Formulate a linear function that models this. Well, look, let's just go to A. We know it costs $7 just for the class, $1.70 per inch, and they wanted to go 16 inches. It's all up there in the guidance. The total cost of a 16-inch necklace. Just multiply it out. Now these are not pearls. They're just little stones, and they call them gemstones, but they're probably plastic or something. So for 17 inches, you do the same thing to charge 17. For 18, you just charge 18 times 170. I mean, it's a pretty easy application. As long as you have the formula. And for our class here, we don't have to build the formulas yet. And so they just build a chart to show you the cost as it moves up. And then they didn't do anything different. Now look, if this was $1.70, look at where it says under C. It says this is the function. So this is the same problem, except for C of 30 is really Y. 30 is your X. Then you plug it in. They didn't use $1.70. They took the zero off. I mean, they made this thing look really different, but they didn't need to. They should have left it as $1.70 times 30 plus 7, because that's what it is. The other one had $7 first. I mean, they just made things tough. It's not any different. Same formula. Farmers market has increased steadily in recent years. It's a table of what the costs have been, the number of farmers in the market. So it says in 2002, there's a 0 and 3137 that correlates to it. 2012, they have a 10 that correlates to it in 7864. Now, let me explain here what this means so you guys don't say, I don't get this table. In the year 2002, there were 3,137 farmers that went to the market. This is like beginning day 1 or 0 of the graph. In 2012, that's 10 years later, there are this many. So they're starting the graph that starts at 0. It's going to look like it's a slope. All you got to do is graph the points. You don't even need the slope. So let's see what it looks like. This is the formula they came up with and the numbers. They don't even show you the graph. Okay, so maybe I need to go back and explain the A portion a little better. I will. I wanted to be clear. I don't want to leave you hanging like that. So I explained the box, and now it says the slope. 10 years, 7, 8. This would be, if you go 2002 is your X, and your first Y is this. 2012 is X, and 7, 8 is your second Y. So you get your slope, 472.7. And to complete your graph, where do you get the 3137? Does anybody know? Well, that's
Number
the
of
Y.
farmers.
Yeah, it's the first one, first number. At 0, when it starts out, it's 3137. So what does this remind you? This is the y-intercept form of a line. That means that if x is 0, y is 3137. Again, here's your x is 0, and here's your 3137. Now, that was not explained by anyone in the book at all. Hope that helps. So now you have the y-intercept form of the line. This is on the test. On the test, it'll give you the slope number, and it'll say this is the y-intercept. And you should know then if this is the y-intercept, this is 03137. They don't take it that far here, but this is the 0, and this is 31. So it's not explained very well, but that should make. So this is basically day 0 or day 1, 3137. Year, beginning of the first year. The 10th year is this. So here we have the formula. The 10th year gave us the slope. Now, you can plug in any year you want in for X, and you'll get the number of farmers. This is the formula you came up with. So the next one is determine the number of farmers markets in 2010. Well, if you put 10 in there, it should be the right number. Well, let's see. 10 should equal 7864. I don't think they're going to do 10. I think they're going to do something else. I think they're going to give you another number. Because 10 has to be that number because that's the line. Yeah, they're going to give you 8. Okay, so they're going to plug in 8. All you got to do is plug in 8 for the number and you get 6919. That's it for today, class. Any questions? I would share with you, do not miss. Whatever you do not miss next class. And you should have from me sometime your test, your midterm exam. Your review. And I think Sherry's going to remind me in case I don't send it out. Any other questions for me tonight?
No.
Thank you.
Let me quick check though attendance one more time to see if someone did. Sam, you ever make it in? Sammy Green? No. How about Alicia? No. Oh, Alicia? How about Yesenia Quintana? Gerardo Ramos? And April Sierra. Okay. Hasta la vista.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you
Thank you.
for reminding me. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Professor,
Thank you.